But we start with Jimmy Victory. It's a new nickname I'm rolling out.
I like that nickname.
49ers defeat the Rams again. Jimmy threw, I put air quotes there, threw for 239 yards. 49ers 2-2. Nick, did San Francisco prove they're the team to beat in the NFC West?
I thought they were a team to beat in the NFC West all along, so yeah.
They're your Super Bowl pick.
Super Bowl pick. They have the best defense in the division, maybe the best defense in the conference. Some would argue the best defense in the league.
Right.
In fact, I read via Mike Silver, your favorite guy, Mike Silver.
He's dialed in.
He tweeted out this stat. They're allowing the fewest yards per play of any team in 45 years. Now, it's early, but that's pretty good. So I think they have the best defense in the division at the very least.
Okay.
I know they have the best weapons in the division. With respect to Pitts and London down in Atlanta, they have the best weapons in that division. Also, Atlanta's in the NFC South, so it doesn't matter. I was thinking of the NFC as a whole.
Right.
I think they have the best coach in the division with respect to Sean McVay, because Kyle Shanahan owns Sean McVay and has shown that the NFC Championship game notwithstanding. The only hurdle is the quarterback. And they showed you last night that nights that Jimmy closes his eyes and wishes upon a star and throws a touchdown instead of a pick, they can look dominant.
Yeah.
They can look utterly and thoroughly dominant.
A lot of nights like that, Nick.
No, there's not. I mean,
a lot of nights like
there's
that.
not a lot of nights.
No, actually, there's 34. No, 32 and 15 is what their record is with Jimmy G starting. And this coach that you think, and he has owned Sean McVay, I'll give you that. But better, I wouldn't call him better than Sean McVay. Prove it to me. Sean McVay has proven it. Kyle Shanahan is 9-29 without Jimmy G. So I want to see him win without this mediocre quarterback, Jimmy G, before I say he's better than Sean Payton, who won with Jared Goff.
Sean McVay.
And now, Sean McVay, but who won with Jared Goff, and now obviously Matthew Stafford.
Well, do you think they're the best team in the division?
Yes, they are. They are. And somewhat, and I'm with you in that they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Yeah. I didn't so much think so with Trey Lance, and nothing against Trey. He may become a great quarterback, but I wasn't sure about him. But with Jimmy G, they're definitely a Super Bowl contender. But that said, them being the best team in the division is somewhat by default. I think you would agree, right? Seattle, Geno Smith's coming back to earth probably within the next 35 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, he's not going to keep this up.
By end of the show.
All right.
Arizona
obviously is not. I'm sorry. I know they were your Super Bowl pick. They are not making the playoffs. And the Rams clearly aren't what they were last year. The offensive line is injury ravaged. They miss OBJ. They miss Robert Woods. Stafford, whether it's injury or the offensive line, whatever, he's playing arguably the worst ball of his career. And, Nick, here's the thing about that quarterback. Yeah. I would argue, because, again, Geno Smith's going to turn into a pumpkin within the next 2 weeks, that Jimmy G is playing the best at that position in the division.
Drew, hold on. No, we can't. Hold on. No. You jumped in on me. I got to jump in real quick.
Let me see.
We are 8 days removed from him self-safetying. We can't have that short of a
Steve
memory.
McNair self-safety.
Right,
I mean, really, I'm not going to hold that against him for the rest of it. It's not going to define his career.
True.
It defined Darren Orlovsky's, because Darren Orlovsky, with all due respect, didn't have much of an NFL career.
Sure.
Jimmy G's been to a Super Bowl, NFC title game. He's been winning. So that's not going to define.
He was terrible. He was terrible. They scored.
Lamar Jackson, you just blame their loss on him yesterday.
Yeah, but he was great for 3 straight weeks. You think Jimmy G's played the best of any quarterback in that division?
Let's look at the monitor and see this graphic.
Please, let's see.
These are game management stats. Because all they need is Jimmy to do is game management.
So Geno's been the best.
Well, Geno's been the best, but Geno's going to be a pumpkin in 42 minutes. All right, Jimmy G, look at Stafford and Kyler. Much better yards per pass. Interceptions, again, game management stats. I just need him not to make mistakes. He's only thrown 1. Look at Stafford, 6. Passer rating, better than Stafford and Kyler. So I'll give you Geno right now, but Geno's not. Jimmy G can sustain this. Geno won't sustain that. But he can't sustain this, Nick.
No. Hold on a second. To me, a somewhat intellectually dishonest way to argue, which is Geno's playing way over his skis is going to come down. And Stafford and Kyler, who are playing way under their career standards, are going to stay there. That's not a fair argument to make. Stafford's and Kyler
been this
will
all
both
year,
be,
the first 4 weeks.
I understand. This is the first 4 week stats. I get it. Stafford and Kyler, and I have issues with both of their teams and both of their performances, will be a bit better. But the reason why we must use the eye test when it comes to your guys' beloved Jimmy Garoppolo is I've always been. It's as I've said many times, it is a tapestry. It is a lot of different things that help us evaluate players. And I know you agree with me on that. There's eye test, there's the numbers, there is the wins and losses, all of it. But Jimmy Garoppolo, can I show you? Because I do want to give the man credit. Because he played a clean-ish game yesterday. And Brew brought up that if Kittle could have dragged a foot, he would have had a nice touchdown
That was
pass.
a nice pass.
And so let me show you Jimmy's highlights. Because he had 3 explosive pass plays. There's the first one. That could have been picked, and it's a 57-yard touchdown. Let me show you his second dime that he throws. Oh, my goodness gracious. Look at where this one goes. This is a, wait for it, 37-yard reception. And then the last one. Hold on, let me show you this dime. Oh, my God. Certainly Trey Lance couldn't have thrown those 3 passes. We can run them on a loop. That is 120 yards worth of his passing yesterday. That one could have been picked and gone the other way. And then Debo does this. Are we really giving Jimmy Garoppolo credit for a 60-yard touchdown pass on this play? Are we?
I am.
Because that's, of course
And
you
Nick,
are. And this one, let's watch what
you know what I
checked.
love in an athlete?
What?
When you know your lane. When you stay in your lane. All right? Don't come out trying to be a superstar when you're not. One of Jimmy G's strengths is that he stays in his lane for the most part. If you can't throw it like Aaron Rodgers, don't try to throw it like Aaron Rodgers.
That's the thing.
Then dink and dunk if that's what our team needs to get the W, and that's what Jimmy G does.
And I think that would actually work. But as you know, he can't actually stay in his lane.
Occasionally.
No, at literally every playoff game he's ever played in, except for the one time they wouldn't let him throw passes. And in the biggest spots of his career, it's what I call, Kevin Wildes has a bit of this, handsome man syndrome. When your whole life everyone's treated you special because you're so good looking, sometimes you think you can do a bit of everything. Sometimes, you know what I mean, Wildes is the host of the show and the producer of the show. Sometimes he tries to direct it behind the scenes. Thinks he do a little bit of everything. And Jimmy, he's doing it now. And Jimmy at times thinks he needs to be, he can grip it and rip it 40 yards downfield, and that has been his downfall.
Occasionally. I'll give you that. Occasionally. And I'll give you, Nick, he's got to be better in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No doubt. But you can't argue with the regular season success.
How? I think when you have that running game, that coach, those weapons, and that defense, it would be hard not to be successful.
But why are they 9-29 without?
Because the quarterbacks, first of all, it's not the same team. It's over the course of 5 years. And second of all, they're not replacing him with league average quarterbacks. They've replaced him with below average backups. Yes. Brian Hoyer and the below average backups that they've had
Mullins,
forever.
Nick
Yeah,
Mullins.
exactly. It's not like we've seen another starting level quarterback step in for him and wow, they can't win games. There is no sample to compare it to.
Are you bailing on your 49ers Super Bowl take?
No, I've never bailed on it.
Okay,
So you still got him going to the Super Bowl with Jimmy.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to change my take.
Okay,
on it.
so you have the 49ers going. Just come on our
You
side.
could.
It'd just be so
I
much
mean,
easier. Yeah,
you could.
You'd be allowed
with
to.
the quarterback getting hurt, you really
If you
could.
want to change it, you can.
My argument all along was that the reason I liked the move for Lance was because at the end of the year, I thought Lance would be better than Jimmy G has been at the end of any of these years. Throughout the year, I expected Lance to take his lumps, and I still thought they'd be a good enough team. With that defense and that running game and that coach, with the NFC where it is right now, the Bucs scare me a bit. If I were to change it, I'd probably change it to the Bucs. But the Packers don't scare me right now. No one in the NFC East, aside from Philadelphia, to me has any shot whatsoever. And the Rams, which I think we're going to get to.
Yeah, we're trying
the
to.
The Rams are a shell of themselves.
We're trying to get to it, but you're telling me how much you don't like Jimmy G, but you got him going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because it's a 50
that's hard.
We're moving on.
But the quarterback can't be a joke and get to the Super Bowl.
Just come on our side. Easier. On the other side of the ball, Rams offense mustered 9 points against a stingy San Francisco defense. Here's a little screen pass that we just saw Jimmy G complete, but Stafford's went the other way, huh? Nick, what's the biggest concern for the Rams?
Oh, they're they're a shell of the team they were last year on the offensive side of the ball, and they can't sustain it. Like, last year's Super Bowl, historically, I don't think is going to make sense from the quarterback prism perspective. When you look at how teams win Super Bowls, if you look at it purely through the quarterback prism, then it's like, really, Matt Stafford peeled one. But if you look at it through Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey were so great that they deserve to be the driving force of a champion. Plus, Cooper Kupp had one of the best years ever. And Stafford caught lightning in a bottle at bits and pieces of the playoff run. Then it can make sense. But you tweeted yesterday that Stafford leads the league in picks, which he does. But he did that last year, too. He tied with my guy, the Prince that was promised, remember? And so he did. And so the issue, and we can show the numbers, Brew, is Stafford needs things. And I know every quarterback doesn't like getting pressured, but most guys can deal with it a little bit better than Matt's been able to. Since he's been with the Rams, take the games where he's been pressured the 5 most, and they're all losses. And it's not like he has 12 losses to choose from. It's basically a through line. You add to it, Brew, that they desperately miss a deep wide receiving core and any form of a running game, and it's just Cooper Kupp getting targeted.
You have Allen Robinson. That's the weirdest part
But
of it.
Allen Robinson, we put last year, Brew, Allen Robinson's struggles on the quarterback.
Right.
Which I thought was fair. It's what I thought. I thought he'd be excellent for them, by the way. He looks like a shell of himself. Looks like he can't get open. They can't block for him. I said it after week 1, if you remember, when the Bills killed him in the second half. I think the Rams could be in real trouble. I continue to think it doesn't mean I think they're going to be a 6-win team.
Right.
But I don't think they're a championship contending team as presently constituted.
Yeah, they don't look like it. And you're right, the offense is the main problem. Allen Robinson, and we said this in the preseason, Matthew Stafford, because he couldn't throw the football, didn't get to develop any type of chemistry with Allen Robinson. All right, so he's looking for Cooper Kupp or Tyler Higbee all the time. Has made them predictable. They got one of the worst rushing games in the league. The offensive line, like I said, is ravaged. I think that was a little unfair to Stafford. I'm not here to defend him because he's not playing well, but Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, Foles is more of a standout than Stafford.
And I guess my point is, when Stafford won the Super Bowl, I think it was being presented as this is the proof that he's a great quarterback.
Right.
As opposed to that Stafford is going to be more in the line of the guys you mentioned, where that story is this great team with a quarterback that pressed the right buttons at the right time.
Can I make an argument, a pro Matthew Stafford argument?
Sure.
And I've been anti-Rams since they laughed at the Cole Strange pick. Remember that? Even though they backtracked, because I'm like, Rams, you're in my craw. They've played great defenses. They're scoring defense. They start with the Bills. Bills have the number 2 scoring defense.
That's fair.
And then they beat up on the Falcons, beat up on the Cardinals. Now they got San Francisco. They got the first. Granted, they had that monsoon game that threw them off a little bit. You play in Chicago. Now you got the Cowboys and Micah Parsons. They could lose this game, but I almost feel like giving them a mulligan on that one too, Nick. So it's like, you're right. You played the 3 best scoring defenses. You got Micah Parsons being all over you. You could be 2 and 3 and still be okay.
It's a fair point, and I might agree with that if I thought they had looked overwhelming in the Rams or the Cardinals game.
That's fair.
I said the Rams. I'm sorry, the Falcons or the Cardinals game. That Falcons game, they had in total control, and then it took Jalen Ramsey mossing. I think it was Drake London, whatever the Falcons receiver it was in the end zone to save the game. The Cardinals have been dead in the water seemingly all year long except for 20 minutes against the Raiders, and that game was in the balance going into the fourth quarter. Right now, they have the same point differential, they being the Rams, as the Patriots. Think about that.
That's pretty good.
How bad the Patriots are. They have a worse right now. They have a worse point differential than the Steelers and the Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.